Hello, wholesome woman. We're going to be diving straight in, talking about changes that happened to me when I started to take certain steps regarding what I eat, what I drink, and just what I consume and put on the inside of my body, and how this has drastically had a positive effect on that time of the month, aka a menstrual cycle. Let's do a quick backtrack. As a woman, ever since I started to see my period, it had always been the most painful thing that's ever happened to me. I've had every kind of pain that is out there that can be experienced to the highest level you can think of, up until even losing consciousness. I did have three occurrences where I had passed out, I lost consciousness. On the third incident was when I actually went to see a doctor because I had passed out for about 4 hours. So when this happened, I was taken to the emergency, and when the doctor finally saw me, he had told me that I my body could no longer take the threshold of pain that it was going through, so it shut down. And that sounded really scary. I just thought to myself, God forbid, what if my enemy never woke up from that? So that made me to start researching, finding out ways that I could, just get over this pain and ensure that it became a thing of the past. Now, during my research, there's this doctor here on the YouTube space. His name is Dr. Berg. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Before I move on, let me just put this disclaimer out there. I'm not a medical practitioner in any way, shape, or form. This is not medical advice. I'm just sharing my experience and experiences, what I've encountered so far and what has worked for me. Now, when I found this doctor on YouTube, he did say the reason why some women seem to have more painful period pains than others, and it was due to one of the things he had mentioned was as a result of a particular chemical that was secreted in the body, which is called the prostaglandins. I had to read that because, like I said, I'm not medical or anything in any way, shape, or form. And as long as you are able to lower these chemicals, you have less menstrual cramp, technically. And then there was an exercise he said to do, to lay on your back. I tried to put a picture. And when you stretch the pelvic area. I think that works when you do it instantly, like right there and then you get relief. However, it wasn't long term. And now a couple of supplements that he recommended. So for this supplement he recommended, what I then decided to do was to try to figure out how to use this in my food. Like, what are these things that I can take that will provide me this nutrient, these vitamins? And that was how the journey began for me. Started, I invested in some of the supplements that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys. So the first one is the magnesium biglycinate powder. It's from the Now brand. This is not a sponsored video in any way, shape, or form. And this did help, but it's the most horrible tasting thing I have tasted in a long while. I don't want to describe the taste because if I do, you probably never taste it. But I also like to be real, so I'm gonna tell you that this does not taste good at all. So be conscious of that. The next supplement I went out to get is the vitamin D. This is one that you're going to be needing. This comes with 100 capsule. It's actually a soft gel. It's from the brand Puritan's Pride. And you want to get the one that is the 10,000 IU, 10,000 to 15,000 IU to start off. So, but again, this is not medical advice. I'm just sharing my experience. Check with your doctor to ensure that this is safe for you to take. Okay. Thank you. Now, the other thing I got was the calcium. This one looks like this one comes in a tablet form. This is from the Dr. Mayer's brand. It's in the tablet form. It's white like this. I don't know if you guys can see it. For the vitamin D, I'm out because I've actually stopped using all of this. For the magnesium, also, I am out. You guys can see it out. Then the last one that he had recommended, the cinnamon capsule. You can always get all of these on Amazon. This also comes with 100 capsule in it. Let me see if I can show you guys what it looks like. This is it. It literally smells like cinnamon, 100%. It says to take it 3 times daily, so you're gonna be having to take three per day. It's so expensive to be taking like that, so I never follow that. I usually would take one in the morning, one at night. And yeah, just take all of this together. So I must quickly point that because of how calcium and magnesium works and vitamin D works, there's a math and a science to it where you cannot just take one by itself. So these three technically have to go together because the magnesium helps this one to work, and this one helps this one to function. There's a science behind it, so please do your research. I'll leave the video for Dr. Berg in the description down bar below, so you can always follow it. But these were things I was taking, but like I said, I got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I need to find ways or sources of food that will give me this without actually continually investing in this. I'd rather just get it from our food. But we know that the food industry in this day and age, in this generation, is so messed up that you might, because a lot of things have become genetically modified, you might be eating certain food, but you're not getting the nutrient it's supposed to give you. So you want to be aware of where you're getting your stuff. Okay. The main reason why I turned on this camera to start filming this series was because this is the second month that I have seen my period and not felt any pain. As a matter of fact, my period announced itself by staying in my bed. If the next part of the things I was saying might be TMI for some people, if you find it that way, please feel no guilt. Graciously exit the video. I just feel like it's about time that we get comfortable having conversations like this, because this is something that impacts a huge amount of women, and many are clueless. Many have tried everything they can and nothing has worked. So if God has helped me to be able to have a painless period, considering that I have had every aspect of insanity when it comes to menstrual cycle. Like, it was so bad that there were months I would just be disabled. The period when it's coming, a week before it arrives, it's hell. When it gets here, the first 3 days, I'm just wallowing in so much pain. 3 days after it's gone, I'm still feeling the effect. And then when ovulation comes and does its own damage, and it is every month. And it got to a point where every month whenever my period came, would be time I had to take off work. And things like that are usually known to people who have sickle cell or acute asthma, at least from my experience of, people that have grown around that had such experiences. So it almost became like, wow, why is she always sick? But it was not real, like, technical fever or seizures or any of those things. It was menstrual pain. And a lot of people would just tell you, yeah, I mean, go take painkillers, but those didn't help. I started off with Felvin, Felvin with Cupid. I would still feel pain, but the degree of pain was not as intense as, but I would still feel excruciating pain. And then when I moved out of Nigeria, there was no way to source Felvin. Somebody had tried to, give me ibuprofen, that it was like a death sentence. And so I found Advil. I started with Advil tablets. It worked for like the first few hours, and after it just stopped working, I graduated to Advil soft gel, and it was just managing stuff. And I know I've been confronted. A lot of people would tell me ibuprofen and Advil are the same, but for some reason my body just accepted Advil somewhat better than ibuprofen. But like I said, it was just all managing the pain. So if I'm able to help one person out there in any way, then it would be my pleasure. So like I was saying, this month, which is 5 days ago, because today's day 5 of this month's cycle, and usually by day 5 it's just like a drop. Mass of day 4, which was yesterday, it would be spotting. It would just be very very light, but the first, what the 1, 2, 3 is usually the bulk of it. And I've gone through this whole 5 days, no pain, no bloating. My God, that used to be the most annoying. No nausea. I have not felt the urge to, throw up, even if I smell things. Oh my gosh, in the past, everything would just make me nauseous. My ears, a little bit of sound, I'm so irritable. It was just bad. It was just bad. My hormones were everywhere, doing things they were not supposed to be doing. But this is the second month that I have had to go through all of that without any of those symptoms, and I cannot be grateful enough. And this is a point where I should say that it's been God, honestly, because yes, I could have done all these things, but there were also prayers that have gone in. But as the Bible says, that we put faith and works. So I'm doing both, and they're paying off. I'm first of all thankful to God that the things that I'm doing are actually working. I'm totally, totally thankful to God for that. On the 12th of September, which was on Thursday when my period arrived for the month, I had just I was in my wig. I was brushing out my wig. I was detangling it, and I began to feel like something was dripping. I was like, "Wait, my ovulation is gone, like again." But then I knew at the back of my mind, okay, I've not seen my period for this month, but I wasn't bothered, because it's usually every 20. I have a 28-day cycle, and so I didn't pay any attention. I kept doing what I was doing. But then when I finished, I got up and my bed was stained, and I was like, oops, okay, this is interesting. This thing did not only announce itself with pain or anything. I didn't feel nothing. I'm still not feeling anything. And I went about my day. But then what I started off with as per nutrition, like I said, I was, looking to transition into food I could eat, because I had started researching. So when it came, I ate snail and snail broth. So the liquid in which the snail was cooked with every other ingredient in it. I chewed on the snail and I drank the broth water. And this did help a lot, because my body just felt so calm. You guys can see I'm smiling so much. And then when that was over, I think after like a 2 hours mark, I took bone broth. Now, bone broth, you can make your bone broth out of anything as long as it's bone. Bones are a great source of calcium. Okay, yes. And I believe I'll do another video where I go step by step into every single thing I eat. I'm now beginning the documentation, because like I said, I was just doing these things. I wanted to change things up, switch things up, but now I see that it's working. I can now share my full experience. So bone broth, the one I had taken was beef broth, and I had it with a piece of beef, a piece of liver, and a piece of kidney. I had those three, and that was all I had. It was filling. I drank the broth water. This is so good. It was so good. And then after 2 hours,
I then took hibiscus tea. Now hibiscus tea, which I have here, some of you guys know it as zobo, some of you know it as zobolo. It's hibiscus tea. I have mine with dates. Mm, tasty. I have mine with dates. So you could always just make a glass of that and drink it while it's hot. It helps, when it's hot or warm. It just helps relax your body. This does have high amount of magnesium and potassium in it. Another thing is you also want to, and when I took those three things, my body was set for the rest of the 5 days. And you just want to eat lots of leafy vegetables, omega 3 rich food. So I used to, that was one thing I did show, cod liver oil. I used to take the capsule one, but now I just go for more oily fishes like sardines, Titus. You could also do salmon. I do all of those. Mackerel, all of that I include in my diet now, not only when it's that time of the month, but just as part of my lifestyle. So it balances off things in my body. The next thing I had to stop doing was I cut out sugar from my diet. So I no longer eat granulated sugar, or even the one in the cubes. It's been a while I even saw those. um, but when we say sugar, a lot of people think that's the only form of sugar. Like, oh, I don't take granulated sugar, I don't take the cubed one, so I should be good. Maybe not. I'm going to raise up two items, and if you recognize this in any way, shape, or form, please indicate by giving a dancing emoji in the comment section down below. And that is your favorite, very own Big Milk. Do you recognize this in malt? So, these we were always told that when it's that time of the month, you need to take them this combo together because it was a supplier of blood. Nah, what it supplies you is sugar, and I'm going to prove that to you. So, when you go to the nutrition information on here, it says carbohydrate is 14 gram, um, of which sugar is 11 grams. So of that 14 gram, 11 of those are sugars. So that means the carbohydrate you're actually getting from this is only 3 grams. And that's the highest thing in grammage. Everything else is in milligrams. And some of them are not even up to, zero point 0.2 milligram. So it says your vitamin B1 0.18 milligram, B2 0.18 milligram, B3 2.4 milligram, B5, B6 0.62 and 0.25 respectively. Um so when you drink this, you're getting sugar. And when you look even on the ingredient list, it starts from the order of, value. The higher the value, or the higher the content. That's how it's arranged. So it's carbonated water, sodium, sucrose, before barley and malt, and then caramel and hops. I don't know what that is. Stabilizers, vitamin 1B, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6. All those ones are the least ingredient there. So when you drink this, you're still consuming sugar. Another form of sugar that I stopped eating is bread. I cut off bread from my diet completely because if you know that bread is also made up of so much sugar. Even the flour, it's made out of the white flour. When it breaks down, for you out there who do chemistry and all of those, you understand this a lot better. It breaks down to sugar. And so remember guys, when I was showing you my hibiscus tea, I told you that I added dates in it. So that's what I've been using as a replacement for sugar. In the past, I would only add dates in my smoothies, but now that I found out that it has a lot, it's rich in antioxidants. I just love it, and it tastes like sugar. I drink my gari with dates now, and it tastes just the same. Date is a very, 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 very sweet fruit. when I do the video of going into the things I eat now as replacement step by step, some of these things I'll be going more, like I'll be going in depth, sharing with you the things they give, what quantity to take, and all of those good stuff. Now, I would be a hypocrite if I sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I've been able to get rid of every sugar in it." I wish. I had a piece of cake. This was actually a temptation that I should have resisted. I got these cakes. I've eaten one. This is the second one. This is brown. That one had some shape. I woken up. I was hungry, and I was just like, you know what? Psh, and I ate it, and I'm still gonna eat this one, but as much as you can really cut down on sugar. And I find that what all of this diet and this new lifestyle that I have started living is also my cravings for sweet things have almost disappeared. I still have them once in a while, but it's not like it was before. I'm sure that some of you might be familiar with, people during that time of the month who would say, I cannot take cold things, I cannot eat any sugary thing. For me, it was cold. I could not go near. If I put my eyes, my side on something cold, I'm gonna catch more pain. That's a joke. But sugary things were just my thing because what Advil would do for me, which is momentarily suppress the pain, was what sugar would do for me. So I remember in high school that during that time of the month, I would go and get packets and packets of candy and just chew on them. Lick them. I usually would not chew candy or chocolate. I never liked it. I prefer to suckle on them and get the taste of everything. But then I got to a point where it's like, this cannot be healthy. Consuming this amount of sugar must have some sort of damage it's doing. So I stopped. But for me, sugar was one thing that worked. I would just take sugar and the pain would just go. But then it was not, it was very temporary, and I could not keep up with having to consume sugar in that large quantity. But now I can say that with this new lifestyle, my sugar cravings are almost gone. The other switch I did was I changed up some of the products I started using. I know some of you of us do not think that these things might have impact, but you might also want to check the material you're wearing as your undergarment. What are they made of? You want to be wearing 100% cotton as much as you can. Try. See those fancy ones that try to see if you can get something fancy, if fancy is that's vital to your existence. But let it be in cotton, okay? Because that way it's breathable, there's no sweat, there's none of all those stuff going on down there, okay? And then I stopped using lots of chemicals. So right now I have simplified my body care routine to the most minimal, that I only use two products. Literally, I use my African black soap as my wash, and I use shea butter as my moisturizer, and that's it. I do not, if I need to exfoliate, I use my African black soap to the salt from it. I just use it to exfoliate and everything comes off. And I moisturize with that. Honestly, you guys can see my skin be glowing, right? But yes, that's my system has been cleansed from what I'm putting on my body topically and what I'm consuming, even internally. At some point, I think it was in July, I started towards the end of July, ended in August. I had gone on a 7-day water only fast. And I can sit here and tell you that did help. It cleansed out my system, it reset my system. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing any of those anytime soon. Because for those by day 5, I was beginning to question my existence, like why? But it was not for any health concerns. It was because it was more spiritual. It was a prayer fast, so I couldn't both that. If it was for health, girl child, on that day 5, I'm done. I would have broken that fast, but it was for a spiritual exercise. So I had to endure the 7 days. My body broke out in lots and lots of things. But since that time, my body has healed itself, recovered itself, and I can see the changes. It's amazing. Again, all of these things are not medical advices and do not replace your medical doctor, your physician, whatever it is, their advice. This is just me sharing my experience, hoping that it might bless one or two women out there and it may change your life for the better. I'll see you in my next one. Until then, take care of yourself. Remember that Christ loves you, Jesus died for you. Bye now.